welcome. My name is Brandon, Ara, speaker of Oneness, a few other names. And this is the first Wednesday event. We're gonna keep it semi-casual, but okay, I think we're good. Signal issues, internally and externally. So yeah, I just wanted to come here and this first event was going to be in the park, but it didn't work out that way, and I wanted to kind of build it up more and talk about it anyway, and I feel like this introduction was kind of necessary to get there. So, hello again. My name is Brandon, Ara, speaker of Oneness, and I am here to talk about oneness. So, I'm just gonna give some background about me and just kind of who I am, where I've come from, and what I've been, where I've become. So, I was born and raised in Laurel, Mississippi, in 1988. Quite an experience being born. Not that I remember fully, but you know what I mean. No, I grew up in Mississippi, just me and my mom. My dad was in New Orleans, and I didn't get to see him a lot. And yeah, it was really interesting growing up. Also, before the internet was a thing, you know, I grew up running around playing with animals in the woods barefoot and climbing trees all day and jumping in the rivers and ponds and just being like a wild kid. And then around like, I don't know, 10, 11, 12, the internet became a big thing, and we got our first computer. My mom worked so hard and she got that, and it was amazing. I didn't leave the computer anymore. I never went outside again, which is its own problem. No, it's not true. I definitely went outside still, but it shifted everything, you know, within me and everyone else. And to really reflect on that and see that change has been profound. It's something that I'm still really acknowledging and leaning into and really understanding. And even now I'm finding myself drawn back to the roots, right? To this natural environment, this natural connection that we are and that we have, that we've forgotten, most of us. You know, how often do we walk around barefoot in the woods anymore? How often do we speak to animals and plants and the air, and we give thanks? You know, we just appreciate the world around us. Instead, we're usually caught up in some kind of logical world, which is, you know, in the internet or business or these things that it can be real, but most of the time it's just like ones and zeros, electricity moving back and forth, that we think is more valuable than the electricity we feel right here and the things around us. You know, so I grew up down there. Mississippi's a lot. You know, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of poverty. It was a lot of drug abuse, a lot of alcoholism, a lot of abuse in general, a lot of misogyny, a lot of sexual trauma. Pretty much everyone is sexually traumatized. If you're from the South, you have some kind of sexual traumatization. I don't want to put that on anyone or everyone, but it seems to be a pretty common trend in everything that I've experienced and everyone that I've spoken to. So, yeah, it's been a lot. And from there, at 18, really like 17, I decided that I was going to be a Marine. My mom said I had this idea from when I was a lot younger, and I guess she kind of like pushed it out of me. It's just like, nope. But then when I was 17, something happened, and I was just like, yeah, that's what I'm going to be. That's what I'm going to do. That's where I'm going to go. That's what I'm going to see the world as, right? I'm going to challenge myself to see if I can be the best of the best, right? Those commercials really got me. Like, best of the best of the best, sir. Yeah, that was a lot. Especially at 18 when I left and I got there, I was just like, what am I doing? First time they yell at you and you're just like, well, it's no turning back now. And yeah, and I did it. I didn't push myself that hard then. I kind of like kept like get in the medium, right in the middle. You know, I didn't like over perform, but I didn't underperform either. I just kind of coasted under the radar. I would do what was required and all that kind of stuff, and really, I pushed myself, but like it wasn't like I needed to be the best out of the groups or anything like that. And that was kind of my whole trend throughout the military. I traveled, I deployed twice, one to Iraq and one to the Philippines for 4 months. And both were quite interesting. But what I found through all of that is that I learned how to control my emotions. I learned how to turn everything off. I learned how to be a machine. And the Marines loved that. They were like, yes, more please. We love people who don't feel any emotions and can obey orders instantly and willingly. Thankfully, I didn't have to make any decisions to whether or not I actually took someone's life. And I'm grateful for that. And it wasn't like it was a bad experience. I mean, there were some things that I didn't like, and I ended up getting out because I didn't agree with people that were in charge of me. I find that a lot of the better people get out when they start to realize what is happening and what we're really doing, and how the majority of people that stay in and gain rank, the majority, there were some good ones, but the majority do it because they're not capable of doing anything else, because they like the power, because they want to control people. And it creates a really toxic environment. Like, toxic is an understatement. They own you 24/7. They can do anything to you, anything they want, all the time. It's a lot. But I met a lot of incredible people, and I traveled the world, and I got to do some things, and I pushed myself beyond what I thought was possible. And I was just talking about that the other day with my partner, and I'm really like, it seems like it was a past life, like another lifetime when I did those things and the things that I learned, like hanging from the bottom of helicopters and like just all kinds of craziness. But yeah, it's been quite a journey, and from there I got married while I was in, and that didn't work because I wasn't able to speak about my emotions, and I didn't love myself. I didn't have any self-worth, and so we couldn't communicate about anything. So we got divorced for 5 years, and I lived in Richmond, Virginia, which was fantastic. I lived with a great brother and super amazing friends, and we spent a lot of time exploring myself and the world and what things are, and even explored psychedelics and plant medicines and doing all of that. Although they weren't done in a divine and holy way, it still had an impact. You know, it expanded my horizons beyond what I thought this reality was, right? And it was nice because I was around people that were responsible and, like, you know, had normal jobs, and even was like a doctor or nurses and these things, and they were able to really talk about these things in a deeper intellectual way and be responsible with how we explored these things. And in doing so, I was able to expand my consciousness. But what I found during that time was, like, I was really upset. I was really depressed. And I went through a lot of things. I even went through a period where I was so depressed that I would stay high all the time, and I literally had blood clots because I wouldn't move. Like, I just play video games all day and stay up all night, and then I would sleep at work, like in my desk in a sitting position, and yeah, I was literally dying because I was so depressed. And I couldn't really figure out a reason why. You know, like, I had a decent job, I had good friends, I had everything that seemed to be, you know, to make someone happy, right? So what was the problem? And that's really when I started my, you know, awakening, or my healing, or my figuring out, you know, what's real and what's wrong with me, and how do I fix it, and how do I find my joy. You know, we call it a lot of different things, but it's all the same thing. You know, it's all coming back to remembrance of who we are and what we are, and how do we find joy, what love really is. You know, it's not like this abusive, toxic love that we typically have found in our world. It's this much more deep, divine love, you know. And so that led me to apologizing to people that I had wronged, and one of them being my ex-wife at the time, and we ended up getting back together and still being kind of codependent. and me not really being okay yet. So it was kind of, in retrospect, it was probably not the best idea because it was very codependent. And it all worked out though, right? Because I have my daughter and I'm completely grateful for that. And I believe that everything happens the way it needs to. You know, for me to be here in this position, to have everything that I have now, and to be able to do this, what I'm about to do, what I am doing, it really required all of those things to lead here. And so, yeah, the last few years I really started exploring, you know, consciousness, right? Like what's going on in the world. I went to college in New York City and I was surrounded by all these people from other countries and all this stuff, and I was just exposed to so much more. And I really started to question everything, and I took some really good classes by a really good professor, like ethics and world religion, and I started getting to what is, I forgot what it's called now, the study of people and sociology and those kind of things, right? And really seeing what's going on, looking at the data of our world and putting it all together. And I have this ability to really see things on a bigger scale and connect dots and things. And it was really good because I was in IT in the Marines, and that's what I did as well. And that's what we do, is we connect all the departments. We make everything flow. We look at everything all at the same time, you know, into one picture and make sure everything is really efficiently moving and able to connect to one another and all that kind of stuff, which is perfect for who I am. Like, it's exactly what I want to do. Is I want to bring everyone together and connect us all in a way that's, you know, efficient and organic and modular and makes sense and is intelligently designed in a way to have us all flourish and not just like the overseer, you know what I mean? So yeah, that was a lot. And I just, being in school and then exploring these things at the same time, and then we had my daughter, and everything just started cracking open really quickly. And having a child, especially a daughter for a man, was really a lot, because I had to then see the world through her eyes and be like, whoa, this world is not friendly to women. I haven't been friendly to women. I've done a lot of things. Like, I've lied, I've cheated, I've stolen, I've hurt people, I've broken things. I've done all of it, you know? And I had to really address that within myself, because I realized that I wasn't. And that was where most of my pain was coming from. And I also found that I had to open up about my emotions, right? It's either on or off. There's no in between. You either are doing it or you're not. You're being it or you're not. You're seeing it or you're not. Your eyes are open or they're closed. So your emotions are either on or they're off. You feel it all. And that's really been a struggle lately. I know, like, within myself, but I see a lot of other people doing it as well. You know, that we want to be the good vibes. We want to talk about the good things. We want to be the healing, yet we don't always express what it takes to get there. You know, the pain that we must wade through to really embrace and look in the eyes and feel just as deeply as we feel the love. We have to feel the pain. For a tree to reach the heavens, the roots must go to hell, right? As above, so below. So that's been really powerful for me. And being able to accept all the bad parts and the pain has really shifted something in me that is almost indescribable right now. You know, so coming from that and really stepping into that and getting into my pains and even being attacked for doing so has all been a very important lesson in self-love for myself, right? How much am I willing to love myself, to express everything that I am in all states, and not let anyone else tell me what I should or shouldn't be, or how I should feel, or what I should express or not express? That has been the hardest struggle of my life. Getting to that point of true divine self-love, where I'm able to just speak however I feel, be in whatever state I feel, and just be good and know that I love myself enough to express this, even if it's like violence or extreme sadness, depressions, like all kinds of stuff, right? It doesn't matter. It's all me, and it all needs to come out. And how we express it, right, we do have choice over, but at the end of the day, it just needs to be expressed. That in itself is self-love. It's honestly the most pure form of self-love, right? That raw expression of authentic, integral self in whatever way it is, be it joyful, depressive, sadness, anger, fear, whatever. Let it out, observe it, tell it that it's not you, and move on. Integrate it if it needs to stay within you. But don't let it overwhelm you. Don't let it debilitate you. Don't let it control your life and prevent you from being who you really are, who your soul is yearning to be. And that's what I was doing for most of my life. It was either not feeling anything or only feeling the bits that were not that painful, right? Which causes you to not ever be expressing yourself. I was like wearing a mask my whole life. I was living in a daze, like pleasing other people and never pleasing myself. And it just doesn't work. It doesn't. You'll either be miserable or you'll just fail at everything because you're not doing what you love. So, yeah, that was quite a period. And through all of it, I was building up and building up. I've had this vision of doing this movement of oneness, of being the speaker and sharing these gifts and talking about world unity and bringing people together for many years. It started, I don't know when. I've always been this way, apparently, because people tell me when I was younger that I would just do things for kindness of other people. I would serve, even as a kid. My cousin named his son after me because he's like, I'm the best person he knows. When we were like, I don't know, 19 or 20, I'm like, what? That doesn't even make sense. At the time, it didn't, you know, but he saw me. And my other friend, just people saw me do things that I didn't see for myself and I didn't acknowledge and appreciate myself for being, you know, and I always saw myself as this, you know, worthless piece of shit that wasn't able to be or do anything, that was nothing but bad for the world. And now I know that a lot of that came from childhood traumas and different things, right? Not speaking my truth, not being heard, not being seen, the things that we all go through, right? The traumas that we endure lead to that kind of self-worth issue and lack of expression and fear of judgment and all those things. And then it was exacerbated by some relationships and things. And yeah, and then so about 7 months ago, I went to my mom's for some deep healing. I was really broken. I was so broken that at the point I thought I was not worthy enough, that my daughter would be better off without me, that I couldn't be a father and all these things when I've been an amazing father. And, you know, I read to her, I sing to her every night. I was a stay-at-home dad for the most part for her first few years of her life. And it shows because she is incredible. She speaks better than most adults I know, right? Like, she's so intelligent and just so loving and kind. Like, and I'm so proud of her and myself. And it took me a minute to realize that I'm not my father, right? That I'm not my grandparents, that I'm not any other man in this world other than me. And that's really powerful, right? We don't need to compare ourselves. All we need to be is who we are. And in fact, it's all we ever can be, right? The only space and time is here and now. So why would we be upset by it, you know? And so I started to figure that out. And then knowing it is one thing, right? But practicing it is a whole other thing. Becoming it is something else entirely. Living that truth. That's when you get real fun. And so that's what I've been doing the last few months, especially. I found synchronistically Soul Family, this event that 8 days before, first time I ever been around people that were like me, that loved people unconditionally and divinely without even having known them, you know, that just emanated that love just because it's a choice. First time I ever met them were like 3 months ago, almost exactly. And that was life-changing, to say the least. To be enveloped in people that love you more than your own family ever did, it's almost unimaginable until you experience that. And even when you do, sometimes people don't trust it and they don't think it's real. And their body, like, their soul recoils against it. They're like, no, this can't be real, or we would have known about this. We would have felt this before, right? But in our hearts, we all know, right? We all feel that we don't belong sometimes somewhere that we are, you know, that we're not meant to be in the places that we are because we don't feel love in them, right? It's like, that's a telling. We have to listen to that, right? That's our soul's intuition. That's our soul telling us these things. So that was a lot, and I had a major release there where it was the very last day, and a brother was just like, he was like, brothers and sisters, there's someone here who needs our help. And I just started sobbing. And I released so much, and they all surrounded me and they just gave me so much love, and it was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. I just released all the self-worth. I released everything that I had in the moment of self-worth, of not being good enough, of judgment, of this shame and guilt that I have for the things that I've done, right? And the ways that I've hurt people and my daughter. And I released it all, and I made a vow in that moment that I would never do it again, that I would never abandon myself, my daughter, or anyone else, that I would be here, that I'm going to step in and that I'm going to do the things that my soul is yearning to do, that I know is my mission, right? To speak, to unite us, to bring us together, to show, to be the example that we're not limited, that we can choose anything we want in any moment. Anything, right? Literally anything. Wherever you are, you could pack up and move to another town right now if you wanted. There's nothing stopping you. Maybe some lack of motivation, lack of faith, knowing that you're capable enough to do so, lack of self-worth, believing that you are powerful enough to do anything you want, because you are. They've just taught us for so long through education system, through movies, through Hollywood, through news, through everything that we encounter. It tells us that we must be led and that we're not capable of leading ourselves or anyone else. But that's not true. It's simply a prescription that we've chosen to consume, to embody. But that's not true. So, in knowing that, I'm fully stepping into my purpose of sharing that truth, right? Being that example and bringing people together. It's time to cast out the rest of this illusion, right? The rest of these tendrils of doubt, the things that we tell ourselves are not true. It's time to stop allowing ourselves to be divided by anyone or anything. That's in every single moment, right? Whenever we talk to someone, whenever we come up to someone, wherever we're in a situation, we feel something, we have a choice in that moment to feel fear or not. Sometimes it's not that easy, but if it's not, then you should sit with it and figure out why it wasn't so easy, right? And that's how you overcome that, and you integrate that experience and allow yourself to not have it again, right? The point is to not repeat our mistakes. And we also don't have to do this on our own. We can learn from other people's mistakes. That's usually the best way. Otherwise, it's a long, arduous life of trial and error, when we could also do it together and learn and have more fun from one another in this communal life that we call Earth, humanism. Everything we've done it together since the very beginning. Literally, we are atoms, molecules, particles combined together to make something bigger, to make something more than what we were before. And that same pattern is what just makes our entire universe, and everything that we see, whether we like it or not, has come from that very same union of particle and energy to become more. And then we come together to make a baby, right? We come together to raise that baby. We come together to make a village. We come together to hunt, to feed, to live, to thrive, to flourish. It has to be done together as a group. All these cities, all these continents now that are united, what's next? It's time for global unity. We have continents that are united now, countries upon countries, right? The clear next step is global unity. And a lot of people are like, that's just impossible, blah, 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 right? Yet every time we did something to get us to where we are, we said the same thing. And we did it anyway, as we've always done, since the beginning of time, because that's what we came to do. And that's how the universe works. We overcome whatever it is through unity, always, right? There's a reason divide and conquer is our military tactic. There's a reason that we say, I don't even know what I was going to say. There's a reason these things are used to control people, right? When you are divided, you're weak. United, we're strong. It's not just a saying, right? It's real. These are real things. And so, yeah, that's really been my journey, is coming up to that in this point in time right now where I'm able to tell exactly what unity is and oneness, right? The difference between it's either separation or oneness. It's very easy to see when you break it down so simply. There's no in between. There's no gray area. You either are or you're not, right? To be or not to be. Brother Shakespeare had the codes. Exactly, Rainey. One step at a time. How does a professional mountain climber climb a mountain? Like everyone else, one step at a time. How did Jesus put on his pants? One leg at a time. I don't know if he wore pants, but you know what I mean. Like, he probably had like a robe. I feel like he was a robe guy. Free balling, like. But the point is, that's all we can ever do. That's all we've ever done. Why would we think this would be different? You know? We forget who we are. We forget what it means to be human. And most of that reason is because we were taught to forget it. What are we taught in school? Nonsense. We're not taught what energy is. We're not taught what animals are. We're not taught that we are another animal on this planet. We're taught to live in boxes. We're taught to have a job, to make money, to do these things that will never fulfill us, right? Because they're external, and our fulfillment comes from within. We're born with it. We're born fulfilled. We're born whole and healed and complete and loved and forgiven and nourished at all times. It's only the world, the society, that takes that from us and teaches us that we're something that we're not. So, the point of all of this is, what do we do now? Having all this knowledge, what do we do with it? Right? Because knowing is one thing, but being, that's something entirely different, right? It's easy to know something and continue doing the opposite. It can get a bit intense, but what do we do now? How do you use that knowledge? How do we embody it and show the world that we don't have to accept it, right? And that's what brought me to this moment, right? I believe that all we have to do is come together. I know all we have to do is come together. And I'm here to show that. So I'm starting a few things, but we're going to call it the Movement of Oneness for now, because it's time. All we have to do is take movements of oneness to create more oneness, right? If we want to see the world become one, then give more oneness, right? Share that with the world, and we will then see it reflected in everything around us, because that's the power we have and the impact that we have on the world around us and everyone else. We're all connected at all times. There is no separation, right? That's why all the markets are tied together. That's why when a storm hits someone, it hits the whole village. There's no one that's just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna sit here and not be affected. Like that doesn't happen, because we're all connected. We're all one. And the same thing applies in everything else that we've done. When we come together, we will no longer be divided. We have the solutions to all the problems in our world. We really do. And if you don't believe me, go do a little research on how to solve climate change, how to solve the war industry, how to solve the social injustice in our economic system, in our judicial systems. We have all the knowledge. We know it, right? The problem is not embodying it. We're not supporting it. We're not united behind these solutions, and instead we're united behind the problems. We're exacerbating the things causing the division. So, movement of oneness. Yeah. If we all feel the same way, and we're all waiting for for the same thing. We all want the same stuff. We all want to be united. We all want to flourish. We all want the wars to stop. We all want peace to come. We all want universal health care. We all want to be able to work less and live more and love more. If we all want these things, then why aren't we doing it? Why aren't we coming together and doing it, right? Are we waiting for the first person to stand up and do it, right? How many of those have we had? We can count back from, like, I don't even know who was first. Krishna, you know, it goes way back. Buddha, Jesus, Abraham, Muhammad, they all said the same things, right? Even up to like Gandhi, Martin Luther King. What did they tell us? They were all one. They were all capable. All we got to do is come together and say no. And yet they were all killed. By who? It's another topic. But my point is, we've been told what to do. We know it. We have all the knowledge. We have everything that we need. We are more connected than we've ever been. We are more knowledgeable than we've ever been. We are more awake than we've ever been. We are more capable in this moment in time than we have ever been to come together and unite as a species. Because there's only one race, the human race. And I know that's going to trigger some people. But if it does, ask yourself why. What makes you different? Furthermore, why would you want to separate yourself from everyone else when separation is the problem? When we come together, we are together. It's that simple. It really is. And it's a choice in each of our hearts, right? It doesn't matter if one person says something else, right? There's always going to be anomalies. There's always going to be these people that want to burn the world down. Do they get to decide our future? Are they more important than our own expression, our own truth, our own self-love, our own sovereignty? Why do they get to choose for me? That's not how I roll. And I don't think that's how anyone else wants to either. So I invite all of you now it's time to stand up and choose who we want to be and what the world we want to leave behind for our children are, right? Because right now we're seeing a lot of things happen. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of war. There's a lot of violence. There's a lot of freedom being taken. We're losing our choice to choose for ourselves how we want to live. And that's a problem because we didn't agree to this. We agreed to be represented by our government, not to be enslaved, not to be told what we can and can't do. No, they're our representatives. They're supposed to have our best interest as a whole, as one at heart. So why are we allowing otherwise? It's time to ask ourselves what it is we really want. Do we want to continue as we have been, or do we want to try something new? Because we're not limited. There are millions of people here on this planet that are ready to come together and show this world that we can do anything we choose. That everything that we love in our world, the best stuff, comes from this loving unity, right? All the things that we love took a lot of people to make it. A lot of love, a lot of compromise, a lot of ability to stop and put our egos in check and work with people even if we're different. It takes all of that in every moment. And so now I want to challenge us to do something more with that, right? With all of this knowledge that we have, I want to bring us all together as one mighty river and speak our truth at one time. Show the world that we don't have to choose to continue as we have been, right? And so how are we going to do that? I made some notes. There's ants on my paper. Yum. So, movement of oneness. What is that and what does it mean? This is the beginning of the end of division. Globally, on every level, because it's a choice. When we come together, we are not divided. When we all flourish, we all flourish. So why not flourish? What are we waiting for? We can do it now. And in this moment and every moment after this. That's how rapidly we can change this world. So, movement of oneness. It's going to be a lot of things, and a lot of it's going to happen organically and grow. But to begin with, it's going to have a website, a place where people can come and connect and offer their own unique, divine expression of love and ability, whatever that may be, because we need it all. No one can do this alone, right? That's why it was never done before, because one person was trying, right? So we're going to get in there together and do this, because each of us has a beautiful, unique expression of ourselves that is ready to be shared with the world, that the world needs. It literally heals the world when you do this. And so we're going to have a way for everyone to come in and express and connect and start this new network of community, social network, that allows us to connect in a way that isn't feeding on us, right? Because Facebook and these other things, like, they literally keep you distracted so that they make money off ads. That's it. They don't care about you or connecting or anything. And in fact, they silence most of us who try to do deeper connections and bigger things. So we need something real, transparent, authentic, integral, and honest, and allows us to connect on this deeper level in every way. So that's going to be the first part that comes up, right? There's going to be weekly events every Wednesday at 12:47. This was the first one, this live. We're going to have some kind of global unity oneness event, right? What that's going to be is going to vary, right? They're going to be different things. I'm going to invite everyone in your community to do what we do wherever we're at. So next Wednesday, the first event is going to be in the park. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Washington Square Park. I'm going to get it all. I should just say it now. Yeah, it's going to be Washington Square Park, 12:47 next Wednesday, EST. Calling on everyone to come out, and we're just going to share love. If you want, bring your stuff that you do, whatever that may be, your healing modality or the thing that you want to share with the people there. We're going to take time at first to come together and just speak and talk about this as one and share this love, and we're going to just show ourselves and be seen by people there and say that we're here to heal and to love you, and that you're not alone, and that you don't have to go through this by yourself, and that there are people with the knowledge to help you feel better, to help you relieve that stress, to relieve the fear of our world, and to come together and build something better. And then we're going to offer our healing modalities, whatever that is. People can set up throughout the park. We're just going to stay there for a couple hours, nothing too crazy. Keep it kind of light and organic, and just get out there. And we're going to take a lot of video and a lot of film, a lot of speaking, a lot of sharing, and just a lot of love, because the love speaks for itself. It's irrefutable. It's undeniable. There's no question in divine love. There's no doubt. There's no fear. It's pure and it's powerful. So every Wednesday we're going to be doing that, and that's what's going to happen next Wednesday. And there's going to be another one where, we're going to go into low-income neighborhoods, and we're going to just bring healing and food and water and all these healing modalities, therapy, and just give to these people that need it the most, right? We're going to share this with the world in every way. And I invite, every time we do this in your neighborhood, do the same thing. Go find this people. Call in your local community of light workers and people that are here and ready to heal and want to give back and serve. Bring them in and go do it. And just see what happens. I think we'll be pleasantly surprised. And if enough of us do this globally every Wednesday, like, we're going to see some real shifts in our cities, in our villages, in our towns, in our country, in our world. And in ourselves, especially. In ourselves, because that's where it all comes from, right? And so whatever we're doing, it's going to be done globally. It doesn't matter where you are. We're going to work out the time zone things, but essentially that's how we're going to do it, because it's powerful. Our greatest strength is unity, right? No matter what, when we come together, we are always more stronger than we are separate. It's just common sense. There's no way around that. And so when we do this together as one, this movement of oneness, whatever that movement is, the action step, the thing that we're going to be in that moment, it's going to be amplified by however many people are present and participating and being that oneness at the same very time, right? When we do it together, it creates this powerful web of love and oneness that can change anything. So weekly events, unifying actions and challenges. We're going to come up with different ways and things every week that we're going to focus on some kind of action and some kind of challenge to push ourselves out of our comfort zones to help us unite and spread this oneness more quickly than we would otherwise, right? And those are going to be whatever. We're going to come up with some really fun stuff, and we're going to be working together with everyone to do this globally. So the first thing, is getting this set up, start getting this word out there. It's going to be more of a broadcast kind of mentality at first until we're able to interact on a two-way network, which we're getting that developed in time, and really being able to receive and give back at all times. So we're going to have a website, a community, like I said, where we're able to come and connect to people in our areas and people that are in the movement that want to be doing this at all times, that want to embody this, that are done with division, right? And that's all it takes. And we're going to be building these communities and setting up a network literally all around the world, to every town, every village, every city that is connected to this one network of oneness, where we can come together and share everything and uplift one another and give that support to these places that need it and different people, and to bring people into something that is bigger than themselves, right? That loves them perfectly as they are in every way, that gives them so much resources and healing and light for them to push through and break through the things that they've been struggling with in every way, right? This is what we are here for. And eventually we're going to be building centers and hospitals and new things, right? But that's going to come a little later. We're going to have talks of oneness. I don't know if it's going to be twice a week or once a week yet, but this is kind of like one of those talks of oneness, right? And I want to bring in other people, though, especially people that are already doing this, to share how they're doing oneness and what it is for them in their world, and how we can help them and how they can integrate into the movement of oneness, and we can bring that all in and get them more support while getting the movement more support at the same time, because we're all here together to help each other flourish, to lift each other up. So the talks of oneness are going to be really exciting, and I want to bring in some really cool guests and have these deep talks about what is oneness, what is love, what is unity, how are we able to see this in our world, and what are the impacts of it, and how do we bring more, because that's all it takes. Full transparency at all times. That is the key to success, right? And the problem that I see in most of our world is that there's no transparency. It's nothing but lies and deceit. Why do you need to hide? There's all kinds of excuses. They're like, oh, because the enemy is like, they'll know what we're doing, or they'll blah, 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 blah. Like, no. It's too easy to lie and deceive the population and everyone else when you're able to hide behind a veil, a smoke screen. That's done. It's time for full disclosure. We're not ignorant little babies that can't understand anything, right? We have full ability to understand and hold the truth within us. It's time for us to know exactly what's going on in our world and become active participants in the outcome of our society and our world. It's done. Full transparency. So everything that we do in this movement is going to be fully transparent. All the actions, all the movements, everything. I'm going to be on camera all the time. In every state that I'm in, I'm not going to just be presenting my love and light. It's going to be hard times too. You're going to see everything, because it's important for full transparency for us to see it all. Not so we can pick and choose which parts we want to present. No, everything is going to be open to the public. Everything is going to be visible at all times. The money, the movement, the all of it. What we're going through, what we're not, what we're doing. All of it is going to be fully transparent. And whatever comes after this, any kind of bigger missions, hospital, all of it, transparency, right? Because that's how we build trust. That's how we repair these things. That's how we share without fear. It's by being transparent and open and connected at all times, being one. And there is no middle ground, right? You either are or you're not. And a lot of us are gonna at first be like stuck in that like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But that means you're on the fence and you're not really in either. You're not doing either. But give it grace, right? Take those steps, even if you don't know what it is, right? Find a mission, do what you feel is taking you towards your higher mission, even if you're not sure how it's going to work out or what's going to feel like, right? If it's oneness and if it's aligning with creating this world into a more unified community within yourself, if it's expressing your soul, if it's saying something that you know you needed to say for a long time but you've been afraid to do so, do it. Just do it. See what happens. If you need help, there are tons of people around you that would love to guide you on this and help you out and be there for you, to hold space for you to release if you want to tell it to them. We're here. And part of the movement is going to be getting people together that are ready for that and have this whole network of light workers that really are available and ready to be able to heal. We're going to have a marketplace. Like, it's going to be a lot of amazing stuff. Like, this is it. This is like, I don't even know what to call it. It's going to be Movement of Oneness right now, but it's going to be like, you know, New Earth network, you know, this whole new paradigm of choosing to be united and sharing in a holistic and divine way, and not in a greedy capitalistic way where we feed upon each other. Like, no, that's done. Besides, we realize that the only persons that actually succeed are the ones who make it to the top, and then they just feed on everyone else indefinitely. For what? I didn't sign up for this. No. This is not the society that I chose to live in, right? When I joined the Marines, I chose to make a better world. I believed that what we were doing was actually creating more peace and harmony and protection for those, right? More freedom, more liberty, more love. But it wasn't. It was just some white man's agenda. No. That's done. It's time for us to do something new. Something of our choosing, for ourselves and for our babies. The ones that seem to have been forgotten by the ones that are supposed to be serving them. And this is on all sides, Democrat, Republican, the parliaments, like, it doesn't matter. They're all doing the same thing. They're all choosing greed and power over love and oneness and flourishing. It's done. This world is abundant. There's no scarcity. This world is massive. The problem is we choose greed instead of harmony, right? We have everything we need on this planet. We can feed everyone easily. We waste so much just due to greed, because it costs money to reduce waste, because it's like easier to just cut corners and no one's there to tell them otherwise. Like, no, that's done. That's done. So I'm also going to be having containers for more of a close, personal healing on every level. Holistic therapy, doing sound healing, doing self-worth healing, sharing all the things that help me be my best self in every way, right? Through, we're going to have all kinds of stuff. Talk about breathing and nutrition and sharing authentically, and what it means to love yourself fully and express that love, right? If you're not expressing yourself, you're not loving yourself, because your body wants to express. Your soul yearns to speak, to express, to paint, to love, to dance, to sing, to do that thing, whatever it is, jump into a river. Like, your soul is yearning, it's begging to do that. And if when you're like, no, eventually, after, you know, a lifetime of no's, your soul is really upset, and it's really hard to break through that. Your soul wants to express. You need to talk about these things. You need to share. You need to love doing it, because otherwise you don't love yourself, and that has a really negative impact on your self-worth, your psychology, and everything that you do. So self-expression. It's time to get into that, and I'm going to be offering a container. I almost forgot what I was saying. I'm going to be offering a container where we really dive into that on a group and one-on-one basis, where we are really able to break through and shatter these limiting beliefs that we've been prescribed and that we've somehow allowed to become all that we are. So these containers are going to be, the first one is going to be men's only, about 10 or 12 people, and it's starting, there'll be a better post about this, but it's starting in about 3 weeks. And yeah, we're going to get into all of it. Meditation techniques, breathing, all of the things that allow us to overcome the blockages and the feelings of doubt and self-worth, and to step into our self-love and expression and be abundantly rewarded for it as well, right? When we do this, we have everything that we need, and the universe rewards us when we step into our full and highest truth, and we speak from a place of integrity and authenticity at all times. So we're going to get into that and how we do it, and we're going to help each other out, and we're going to build this like community, because honestly, the men need healing a lot. Everyone does. But right now, men are really broken, and we're preying on people, and we're thinking that we deserve yada 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 without honoring and protecting, right? Because that's what we're supposed to be. And it's gotten really twisted. The lust and the violence have permeated every part of our existence, and it's time to work on that, to step in and be our highest selves, protectors, leaders, defenders of this planet and everything on it. And then even to combine inside of us, to unite within our divine feminine, which is the nurturing, the emotional states of us, right? We're told so many times that we're not supposed to feel or cry, and no, that's all nonsense. The strongest are those who live in their emotions and are able to protect at the same time, right? They're one within themselves. When you don't love part of yourself, you don't love yourself. If you don't love your darkness, you don't love yourself. It's the same with all of it. If you don't love your emotions, you don't love yourself. And if you don't love yourself, then you can't do anything that you love. You're limiting everything that you are by telling yourself that you're not worthy of love, and then no one else can love you, and now you can't love them, and now it's just a whole bunch of nonsense that is easily fixable through self-expression and going into these and looking the pain in the eyes and telling it, I love you, I'm grateful, thank you, because the healing is in the pain, the power is in the pain. Everything that we've endured, we're about to cash in, and we got a lot. We got a lot to cash in on. So I'm really excited, and I'm gonna get something out about that very soon, this week probably. And yeah, it's gonna be transformational for myself and the brothers that come and join me. I'm really excited. Whew. And so finally, it's time that we end the belief that we're not capable of doing this. Every time we have a natural disaster, what happens? We come together and we get people out of there. We don't ask like, are you a Democrat or Republican? Because I'm only picking up Republicans. Like, no. People go out and they snatch everyone up out of the water when a hurricane hits, right? When it floods, it doesn't matter. We're there because that's what it means to be human. We forget all this nonsense programming, like all the bullshit fades away instantly, and we do what needs to be done. We step in, we step up, and we help one another out because that's what we do. That's our nature. That's what's most natural for us. So this belief that we can't do that is just ridiculous. We do it all the time, nonstop, in everything that we do. All the time. Why do we need to wait for a cataclysm to do so? We don't. We don't. And this belief that one person defines all of us is absurd, right? When we have these peaceful protests and then one person's violent, they're like, it was a violent protest. Like, no, that was one asshole. And we do not align with him. He's going through some shit, right? We get it. But that's not what we're here for. And he does not diminish what we're saying. And if you can't discern between him and I, then that's a whole nother problem that we need to talk about. But it's not going to be vilifying everyone and everything just because of the actions of one. There's always going to be one. There's always going to be someone that goes against everything that we're doing. And that's fine. But they are not us, and we need to learn our sovereignty and our oneness within ourselves and our ability to see them and acknowledge them, but also say that we are not them, that we are sovereign beings, free to choose everything that we are. And right now, we are choosing oneness. We are choosing love and unity and non-violence because it's a choice. And in doing so, we quickly show the world what real love is. We quickly show the world that this is not a game, that we're here that we are able to come together in spite of everything and remain resolute in our integrity and our love and our devotion to this movement of oneness. And so that's what I'm calling in. That's what I'm expecting. That's what I'm seeing, and that's what I'm embodying in myself. It's time to grow up. It's time to grow up. All of us. Whatever your ego's feeling, however you're triggered, however you're judging yourself or others, it's all done. Let it go. It's time to grow up. And remember that we're one race, one country, one family, one world, one consciousness, one God. Doesn't matter. It's all the same. If you believe otherwise, it's just a belief system that's limiting you from being connected to everyone else and everything else at all times. It's done. And if you can't be done with it, then that's fine. We're still here. But you won't be able to step into your higher purpose. You won't be able to lead. You won't be able to do these things in this new world because you're not growing up. You're still holding on to things that are limiting you, and everyone else is going to see that and feel that, and they're not going to want to follow you anyway. It's going to cause problems. It's going to cause all kinds of strife. It's time to grow up. If you don't want to grow up, then sit down at the kids' table. It's fine. We'll feed you. We'll take care of you. We'll nurture you. But for those of us who are growing up and who are ready to stand up and to speak this truth and to be these pillars of oneness, to change this world into one that we know is fully possible and capable right now, let's go. Stand up. Lead your communities. Connect. Start speaking about oneness in everything that you do. Become this movement, right? Connect. Tell them what it is. Speak your truth. Hold the light. Be forgiving and kind, but don't take no shit. Because that's what divine love is. I wouldn't allow my daughter to just harm herself and others. No. I'm going to tell her no, what you're doing is wrong. That is not okay. That is unacceptable behavior of a human being on this planet. It's unacceptable. Grow up. We're here. And you're not alone. You are loved always. You are always forgiven. Doesn't matter what it is. When you change, you repent, you really forgive yourself, and you change, you are forgiven. It's done. If someone else hasn't forgiven you, that's them. That's their forgiveness. Don't put it on yourself. When you've changed, when you're not doing what it was that was deemed unforgivable anymore, right? It's only a problem when you're repeating your mistakes. Grow up. Let's do this. Because we can only do it together. No one's coming to save us. No one's going to do it for us. It's clear that the governments don't give a shit about us. They don't. So who's going to do it? Who's it going to be? When's it going to be? Yesterday you said tomorrow. It's us. It's you. It's me. It's my partner. It's everyone on this planet that is ready. And even those that aren't. It's all of us together. Stand up, step in, dust your shoulders off, scream, cry, kick, thrash, do whatever you need to do. But speak, own it, love it, and be it. It's time. It's time to be one. The time for oneness is now. I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you. And I'm so honored and grateful and thankful to be here now and to be able to do this and share this and lead this, because I couldn't have done it without so many people, without everyone that I've interacted with, without everything that I've been through. I could not be here and do this now, and neither could you. So please, I'm so excited for us to do this. I'm so excited to meet you all. I'm so excited to see your expression, your stepping in, your leadership in this world, your healing, because this is what we need. So thank you. I see you, I honor you, I feel you, I love you. I love you so much. We got this. So, stay tuned. Start speaking oneness. Start being oneness. Tell everyone you know the movement is here. It's time. There is nothing to fear. I love you. And you are love.